Welcome back, Intrepid Heroes. I'm Timothy Magic, your wizard at large. I'm here now, checking out a new weekend segment I like to call Superhero Saturday or Superhero Sunday, depending on whatever day I get to upload it, have some free time to edit this, and compile it on a different superhero of the week or superhero team. I like to do this weekly, but if it's a bi-weekly thing, that's just how it's going to be. I'm sure you've already found out by the title, this is a bit of a Bat-Rant. The first episode's going to be, of course, about the Dark Knight himself, Batman. Seems appropriate, he's on top of all the charts. There's already so much buzz, there's already been so much buzz about a movie that's still 6 months away from hitting theaters. Christopher Nolan's conclusion to his Batman trilogy. Now, I'm not going to speculate on whether Nolan is going to do the plot of Nightfall or not. There's enough of that streaming around the internet as is. So, this is just going to be my take on more or less the Batman relaunch, where DC is taking him and how they're trying to get more of your money. Now, ever since the success of these last two Christopher Nolan movies and the relaunch of the DC universe on their printed material, I've come to a realization that Batman is fucking everywhere! And I know Batman's popularity didn't spring up overnight or over the course of a decade. That'd be ridiculous to not acknowledge that he's been a staple of American culture since the end of the 30s, beginning of the 40s, when DC first introduced him as a character. I mean, he's had so many successful story arcs, TV shows, video games. His merchandise sales have almost never dwindled. Almost. But generally, Batman has stuck around. He's always been in the big three with Superman and Wonder Woman for their sales. And I'm not going to lie to you. I will not take the hypocrite route and say I'm not a fan of the Dark Knight. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm a huge Dark Knight fan. He's been one of my top heroes ever since I was a small child. Yeah? You like it? Yeah. I'm a fan. I like the films. I like the 90s TV show. I like a lot of the stuff that Batman's in. What I don't like is the clear intentions of DC CEOs just wanting to take your money by milking the Batman on every title they can possibly put him on. Since the relaunch, he appears on way too many titles for just one character. I'm fine with him appearing on multiple titles. That's totally fine. That's cool. I feel certain comic book characters can be marketed across a number of demographics. It's totally fine. It makes sense for him to appear on, of course, Batman, Batman and Robin, Detective Comics, and the Justice League. He's been a staple in those things for decades. Totally cool. The minute I saw DC was launching a title called Batman the Dark Knight, I kind of got a sense that the milking had begun. When you release a title that is identical to the #1 movie in the world for that summer that everybody saw, and like, oh, there's a book called The Dark Knight too? Great. I've never heard of this. I'll check it out. It's not so sinister to draw in new customers by any means, it's just, well, I'll continue. He appears also in the International Justice League, appearing on both the Justice League and the International Justice League. I'm not entirely sure what the big difference is other than cast members, but the fact that Batman is on the team too just kind of drives me up the wall. Now, I'm not one of those people who says he shouldn't appear on a team. Far from it. He works good in a team. I mean, he brings a lot to the table. Be it resources, intelligence, tactics, and, you know, even a scrap. He's no pushover in a fight. However, when it comes to metahumans, Batman's really not qualified to do much combat. He can, like I said, offer resources and analysis, but I feel like if he's just going to be there to cause a diversion or inform a team member, you can probably do that from an iPhone. Anyways, now, this is 2012. The Batman probably has a bat phone. Now, like I said, Batman's no lone wolf. He works well with others, despite what some writers want him to be. But they're spreading him to both Justice Leagues. Why do you want him on both teams? If you want somebody to bring a detective aspect or a martial artist gadgeteer thing to the table, why not use one of your many other characters from your library before just erasing them from existence with your relaunch, reboot, whatever you want to call it. It just goes back to wearing this man too thin. I mean, in addition to appearing on those regular titles, he's going to... I'm sure he's going to make cameos in titles like Nightwing, Batwing, Batgirl, Batwoman, Catwoman, Birds of Prey, Red Hood and the Outlaws, Superman and his collection of titles. I'm sure you'll see Bruce show up in that. Teen Titans, I'm sure he'll pop in on. And I would be surprised if the writers did not have Deathstroke versus the Batman in one of their story arcs and cross their titles. I'd be surprised. Now you can make the case for different continuities throughout these titles that DC's putting out, but fuck that. DC gets one Batman. They don't get a bunch of different continuities where Batman can poke his ass into everybody's adventures at once. No, there's one streamlined canon continuity, and you can't have him appear on however many titles I've just listed off and it still being plausible that this is just one man. He has his limitations. Granted, he can push himself further than you and myself, because he is the Batman, but still just a man. He can still shoot him. It just begs for another relaunch down the line, because you'll have Batman running around and all over the planet when he can't even keep his own psychopaths in his own city behind bars. Now, I know this isn't new, and it isn't completely unforgivable. CEOs have been doing this for years. It's getting out there, the demographic, and that's how they get their money. I'm just saying, know what you're spending your money on. Alright, that's it for the first episode of Superhero Saturday Sunday. I promise next week's will be much more lighthearted. Alright, stay strong.